The Honourable Member for Calgary Nose Hill.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This place, the House of Commons, is the seat, arguably, of democracy in Canada. One of the seats, one of the most important seats. And arguably, it's also the only thing that prevents Canadians from settling their disagreements through violent conflict. Our tradition in here of solving our problems through discourse it's what makes Canada Canada. And what makes this place is the Speaker's role. And it's the Speaker's charge under our standing orders and under our traditions to maintain impartiality. That has not happened. I want to try to implore some of my colleagues from other political parties to think about why the Speaker needs to go in concrete terms with regard to each of the Speaker's 3 roles. Before I do that, I want to briefly comment on the Deputy Leader of the Opposition's point that was made about trust. The current occupant of the Speaker's chair had a big trust deficit to overcome with the House because historically, Parliament has never had someone who had a government appointment take on the role of Speaker in that same Parliament. And not only did they have a minor government appointment, he had the most partisan appointment of all. Parliamentary Secretary to the Prime Minister. That's like the Prime Minister's defense guy on any topic. So there was a trust deficit to overcome. So what happened now that we're on the 3rd incident, the 3rd case of privilege where the Speaker has demonstrated partisan behavior, is that it's very clear that impartiality has been breached. And now it's not just about this place, it's about Canadians' faith in this place being able to fairly and neutrally function as a voice, a place where their voices can be heard. Because if the Speaker is being partisan for the Liberal Party, then the 120,000 people I represent do not have fair hearing in this House automatically. And that is why I implore to the Speaker, we can respect each other as partisans for our ability to be partisans, but the Speaker, I implore him to resign on his own accord, because his legacy is now having breached that impartiality to the point where any decision he makes, any ruling that he makes, is going to be viewed through that lens. And that degrades Canadian democracy. So when we're talking about wasting House time, the Speaker should have resigned already. That is the right thing to do. That's what he should have done. Now, how does this impact his 3 roles? First of all, the Speaker presides over all debate in the House and is responsible for enforcing and interpreting rules of the House. Already the Speaker, outside of the 3 instances, has had to recuse himself on questions regarding the government withholding information in order paper questions or misleading the House. Why? Because they were order paper questions he signed off on in his role as parliamentary secretary. That's problematic in and of itself. Then, with these partisanship, not just allegations, like a clear case of privilege being found, which is why we're debating this right now, right? When he makes the decision to remove someone, it is going to be debated through a partisan lens, automatically, because of his partisan finding. And he's already lost the confidence of a significant number of this House. Many opinion columns have been written, and rightly so, saying, how can he continue on in his role when 2 of the major political parties say that he has lost confidence? And this is not something that's par for the course. This doesn't happen every Parliament. This is the first time it's happened. It is a remarkable decline in Parliament, and he is presiding it over. So if we're going to talk about people wasting the time of this House, he should have resigned already, of his own accord.
That's right.
That is what the honourable thing he should have done. But so he can't do his first role. He can't neutrally proceed, preside over the proceedings of this place. His second duty is the Chief Administrative Officer of the House. And I did raise this issue in committee and proc today. I also raised this with the House Leader of the NDP in debate today, respectfully, and he didn't answer the question, which is honestly, how can, given these partisan allegations, he be the presiding officer over the House of Commons harassment policy? How is that possible? And put everything aside for a minute. This is really serious. If you look through the transcript of the day in May of 2016, when the Prime Minister elbowed former NDP MP Ruth Ellen Brosseau in the chest, I draw your attention, House, to the comments of the member from Churchill, as well as the member from Victoria. Oh, I'm sorry. One of my good colleagues, I'm forgetting your riding, and I should know it off the top of my head. At Esquimalt-Sanishud. They rightly said that the member from Churchill said, if we were to apply a gendered lens, it's very important to recognize that young women in this place need to feel safe to come to work here. She gave this whole account, detailed account of what happened. And the Speaker, you know what he did? He jumped up right after the member from Churchill spoke these words and said, no, if anyone wants to exaggerate the situation and make this into something that it's not, make it reminiscent of a dive in the 2006 World Cup, perhaps we can go on. I think it might be exaggerated. So he was not only denigrating Ruth Ellen Brosseau, but he was also denigrating the account of harassment from the member from Churchill. And then he goes on to say, what happened was exactly as the Prime Minister had described it. So these two women had experienced it differently. Now, put partisanship aside for a second. We're being asked in this place to suspend our disbelief that the Speaker can somehow magically go from that to being the neutral arbiter of the House of Commons harassment policy. And now he has 3 strikes of partisanship against him. How is any staff member, how do we know that vexatious complaints aren't going to be made? How do I know that I couldn't go there and have that leaked to the Liberal whip and have it go to the media? He's effectively put a chill on anybody wanting to talk about harassment in this place, and yet the NDP are propping him up. Why? I'm not saying this, again, I'm just, this boggles my mind. And it's wrong. It's fundamentally wrong. The last thing is that the Speaker is the representative or spokespersons for the House in relationships or authorities outside of Parliament. And yet you had the Speaker in his robes talking about being a young Liberal in this capacity in Washington, D.C. His international relation is now a spokesperson for the Liberal Party. Come on. He just needs to resign. That makes everything easier. Then he doesn't have to put the NDP supply in confidence. I have no idea what's going in that caucus right now. It boggles my mind. I have no idea how they are supporting him. It really... I boggles my mind. A supply and confidence agreement with the government should not cover an agreement to cover up or to support the partisan activities of the Speaker of the House of Commons. And then to the Deputy House Leader, who is saying that it was the Liberal Party. It was the Liberal Party. The Speaker couldn't have possibly known about it. I would like to quote something that the leader of the Liberal Party, the CEO, the Executive-in-Chief of the Liberal Party said, when allegations about former Justice Minister Jody Wilson-Raybould and the whole SNC-Lavalin scandal came out, what was the first thing the Chief Operating Officer, the person in charge of the Liberal Party today said? Quote, that story in the Globe is false, right? That story in the Globe is false. How many times have we heard the Liberal Party, the Commander-in-Chief of the Liberal Party say, oh no, it's false. That's not what happened. So I have respect for every person in this House. I would like to think I actually have a good relationship with many people in this House. Out of self-respect, how can somebody stand up here and ask the House, how are we supposed to believe that the Liberal Party that the Speaker didn't know about this, and that we're just to take the Liberal Party's word after 9 years of the Globe, the story in the Globe is false? This is just, guys, this is amateur hour. The Speaker should just resign. If you're watching this, Speaker, resign. Stop the debate and just resign. There are many other people in this House, not me, who could do this job in an impartial way. There are people who have stood up against their party from time to time, who have shown some independence in this place, who could do this job. and respect the democratic traditions that this is based upon. And yet here we are for the third time debating this. So when we're talking about waste of time, it's not a waste of time to protect Canadian democracy, but the Speaker is sure wasting the House's time, and that's a shame.
Yeah, well done.